Hey, what fun. We are live.
And we're live from Bez, believe it or not. We finally left our home after trying to make things work there, which they did sometimes and they really didn't other times. So we're hoping that now that we are allowed to be in here, that you're going to see a whole lot more happening from here at the Bez space, the Bez curtain behind us, and we even have our new sound technician on site as well, so she's helping us. So we're that much further ahead this time around. We're really glad you've joined us again. We have been a bit on a hiatus, trying to make the technical things work a bit better, which is kind of the issue right now with all of this, trying to do things remotely. But I think we've got a better deal this time, and we're excited to have Jordan Klassen with us. And Russ is going to start us with the song, and then we'll get Jordan. Do you have something else to say?
Well, I will add to that, just that it has been an interesting time getting set up for this. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, we were going to have Jordan, and then I don't know. Then all the stuff that's happening in the States, there was so much tension, and we needed to sort of take a pause, and so we have paused, and now we're back. And the song that I was thinking of starting is a song from my Waiting for Abraham album, and it's a song about seasons and such. I'll play a bit of it. I won't play the whole thing, and you can look at it. It's called Red Sky Morning. Red sky morning, take the warning, still we're sailing into the wind, yeah, deep in the galley, 12 plates shaking as the cook's creation been forsaken. Yeah. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. You better take care where your treasure lies. Wanna find you dancing in the heather, whatever the weather. I wanna see your spirit fly. Red sky morning, take the warning, still we're sailing into the wind.
Well, there you go.
There's a lot more to this song, and I was going to do all this stuff, but I'm looking forward to having Jordan. So,
Well, why don't we get him on here then?
can we do that?
I think we can.
Look
There he
at
is.
that.
Hey,
Hey,
It works.
Jordan.
how are you doing?
Good. You're coming live to us from your home studio. Is it a home studio?
It's close to my home.
Close to your home. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you been there most of the lockdown time, back and forth between there and home, or mostly at home?
Yeah, so I share it with a few other people, but luckily I was the only one who felt comfortable still coming in, so I've kind of actually got to do a lot of work during this time, so that's been good.
Yeah. And how has life been at home, you and Olivia, and all of those things? You having more time together? Is that good?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this has just kind of made me realize, like, I don't know, like a lot of mental health stuff comes up when you're isolated so much, even if you get to be with your partner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's really made me realize how much I need other people, you know, and not just over a screen, but in real life too.
Yeah. What kind of emotions come up for you guys in the midst of this? I mean, not to pry, but
But to pry.
but to relate, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of anxiety. It's actually been really weird because I feel like I've really just kind of thrown myself into writing, which has been positive. But then as far as just kind of everyday emotional state, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of, yeah, I don't know. I guess kind of forgetting who you are a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
on an emotional level, and feeling isolated.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And does a lot of it end up having to do with your career or just life in general? You know, specifically your career as an artist, or just life in general?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do. It's getting more and more with career because, you know, with music it's always like a few months behind.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of momentum at the start from just what I was doing before, and now it's starting to feel a little more anxious, just how to make ends meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Also, just relating to people, like, you know, no man is an island, as they say, and so
Yeah.
when you're not with others and spending time with people, I just go a little crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It is definitely. You were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
so no, it's definitely a hard season, but I was going to say that you had all that release of the album coming in the early part
Right.
of this. When you were last with us on, what was that, March 13th, you were in a ramp up to a release of an album, and
Yeah.
then you were pushing towards that, and it came out, and all this stuff happened. You know, that was pretty exciting, but yeah, I can see it must be a different, where do you go now? Because you're still sort of locked at home. But
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might have been the worst time in the last decade to put out a record. So,
Indeed.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I think something like this would have usually made me more anxious, just putting out a record in so much turbulence. But I just kind of, it's been done for a couple years now, and I just knew it was time. And for some reason, I don't. It's okay. I don't know. I feel excited about it. I'm proud of it. The response has been really great, and I'm happy to have it out and start working on something new. So.
Well, and I actually was listening to it last night as I was going to bed. And it actually is quite calming, soothing music. It's actually a great album for this time. Why don't you give us a song and give people a taste of, you know, what it is that album is focused on, and let you
sure.
go at it right now.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, I'll play this kind of the most recent single. It's called I Want to Move Into Your House. Down in the valley of the shadow of doldrums, I find you painting the walls. Just spinning, sweating like you're writing a poem, like there's no ghosts in the halls. I always read between the lines for one more day. Always wandering around to meet halfway. I wanna move into your house, making my bed where the sun comes out again, pulling me back off the fence, throwing the lines of my best defense away. You'll find me waiting in the shores of affection. I've heard the current is cold, and when my boredom speaks and raises objections,
Well, I may want to be bold. All the old will be burnt up and pass away. I wanna move into your house, making my bed where the sun comes out again. There is a warmth where you are. There is a sense that relieves not far away. Turning over restless self-inducing thirst to lay my head somewhere I can forget to check myself. Where there's a blanket of sweet disregard pulled up over my eyes. And in the mid-afternoon, you're out in the garden, planning madness and adaptation, and images of people we know. I wanna move into your house. I wanna move into your house.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Jordan, we were with a bunch of people last night, and one of them was making a comment that Jordan Klassen makes the ordinary sacred. And I thought that was a really good comment on your music.
Actually, his wife is on the stream. Janina's on. She just posting, love this
yeah.
song.
Not Jordan's wife, but
No, the guy who commented.
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought she was supposed to be at work.
But where do you draw your content from? Like what creatively inspires you to go where you go when you write your songs?
Yeah, so I guess a couple things. Like one would be that I've always been really drawn to like minor and major chords. So like I like hope. I like music that is not just purely joy and ecstasy, but that it always has a tinge of sadness. And I feel like there's something in art where if you're just happy and there's no pain, that it's kind of hard to believe, you know? And I'm drawn to that. But then on the other hand, if you're just kind of a sad, self-loathing kind of thing too, that's also, I also don't really buy that either. And I also feel like, especially just as like a white dude, it's like I have a lot of privileges, so I always kind of roll my eyes just really kind of overly sad music. And so I guess I'm just drawn to music that's kind of in between, kind of melancholy. And I think I have a melancholy personality. I sit around and kind of think whimsically a lot, I guess. I don't know. And then on the other hand, I really love, we're talking about this, making the sacred, the ordinary sacred. I actually just went and listened to a guy called Malcolm Guite, who's this Anglican priest, talk about kind of the different rivers of poetry, and how there's the poet who takes heaven and pulls it down to earth, and then there's the poet who takes earth and brings it up to heaven. Anyway, I'll probably screw this up, but I guess I just always have really loved like T.S. Eliot and like Pablo Neruda and Rilke, and that kind of poetry that's like it just kind of looks at the world and makes it magical. And it's also abstract. You can kind of read it however you want, and it kind of sets the rules where you can, whatever it means to you, it's relevant, you know.
Yep. Which is,
and I love that kind of thing. I love that kind of storytelling too. Leonard Cohen too, I feel like does that.
Yeah.
it's like he just paints this picture and you don't even know what he's saying, but for some reason you know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Well, and isn't that the point of art, to kind of bring each of our realities into an artistic expression so that all of us can actually inhabit that artistic expression, not just the artists themselves.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What was that song about specifically? The move into my house?
Yeah.
Because it's really open-ended to me, and your video with it is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the song is about, it's actually a theme I write about a lot, which is just committing to something
Huh.
and planting your feet somewhere, finding a home. I think I live in a kind of, or I am in a kind of very transient generation, especially kind of emotionally and philosophically and spiritually. And so I'm inclined to just sit on the fence, but that there's just a lot of joy in kind of planting your feet somewhere,
Yep.
and that could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I'm drawn to that idea of kind of, the idea that like one yes is 1,000 no's. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what it's about. And the video is the idea behind the video is just supposed to be someone's lifespan in a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty simple, but I don't know. A lot of people are
good
kind of
stuff.
confused by it.
Yeah. Now, is that song the one that's doing really well on CBC?
That one is,
Is
yeah.
that the one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So,
Top 20, yeah.
well done there.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just noticing people signing on to on Facebook, and I guess my screen is a little far away from me. I'm like, I'm feeling old. I can't see it. But it's people are there, and they're loving your music. And I've got an old friend, David Morley's following us on YouTube, so people are watching from YouTube as well, which is kind of nice.
Oh,
We're streaming there. I'm actually also streaming to a Twitch platform. I don't know really much about Twitch, but I've sent the video there as well. See if we get any action. Fishing on Twitch.
Yep.
And so that's happening, but we've got some old friends commenting, just loving your music. And just a guy named Chris, I can't read the last name from here, Turnicky or something, says Jordan Klassen for class president.
There you go.
Wow.
So that's good.
Yeah. Is that a play on my last name?
Maybe Klassen,
Yeah.
president.
Maybe. Do
Yeah.
you want to give us another song, Jordan?
Yeah, sure.
We'd love that.
Yeah, I'll do another one from the new record. I guess talking again about this idea of like finding a home and finding a place to kind of rest your head, in a existential way. And this song's kind of I wrote it after I got married, and yeah, maybe this idea of just kind of choosing who you're going to be instead of always waiting for your inner world to tell you who you are. Yeah.
She's a creek in the meadow, a benevolent force that carves the Grand Canyon by staying her course. At the top of a promise, there's a flag of resolve. You move down the mountain, it's easy to fall. I'm a little distracted, I'm a little obscene, tearing out pictures from old magazines. All the faces look brighter just 40 years ago. If I could live anywhere, that's where I'd go. Was alone in the corner, in my own head, pleading my case to the peace. And the sentence was fatal. I'd have to return whenever I'm feeling the need. None of my answers are inside of me. There's a friend on the phone line telling bad news. They left the cage open and somebody flew. In a moment of weakness, she asks if I could. And never say never, but I never would. Oh, the night is a magnet. It's easy to dance at times when it's harder to see. And I'm watching her moving. She pulls me along. Forget to remember to flee. Oh, I wanted a lover, a dramatic dead end, a commotion to come make me free. But I got something better. I got me a friend. A river becomes a valley. None of my answers are inside of me. None of my answers are inside of me.
Nice, nice.
Wow.
Wow.
I know that feeling. That's a really very present feeling, it seems often, that none of the answers feel like you have I don't know, we're stuck sometimes not knowing where to go or what to do, and it's interesting. I feel that. At the same time I feel like I'm going to go change the world, I also feel completely stuck.
Yeah. I think especially people who tend to be really self-reflective can find a lot of dead ends inside themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And so just doing something is often a good route.
Yeah.
Just do something.
Yeah.
Solitaire on the phone,
Not the right way to go.
Sometimes.
No. Yeah. But what are you finding has been the most important thing for you in this time? Like, what do you kind of keep going back to as being, no, this is where I need, my starting point is,
Yeah.
you know?
I think quiet time actually for me, because usually what I often find when mental illness is kind of creeping in, I'll just kind of wake up, go on my phone, go on social media, make coffee, go to work all day, watch stuff on Netflix, and go to bed. And I'm always just kind of distracted.
Yeah.
So like kind of segmenting off time in the morning to like sometimes just like stare out the window.
Yeah.
That is really important for me. And also again, like this idea of just kind of remembering who you are. It's like, it's easy to forget. So I'd say quiet time is a big thing.
Cool. And what do you hope, I mean, reflecting on kind of what is happening both between COVID and, you know, all the subsequent things that have kind of trickled down, I mean, obviously a lot of it is just exposing us as people, and the crisis of COVID kind of has opened the doors to all the other things that we haven't quite gotten right.
Yeah.
So for you, what would you hope that people would remember after this time is over, or at least as we start opening things up and doing more things in general? What do you hope people won't forget?
Well, if we're talking strictly about COVID and not also the huge cultural shift that's been happening in the last.
Yeah.
But if we're talking strictly about COVID, I would say, I think that like we're pretty privileged historically, you know. we haven't seen a lot of huge catastrophes.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, the way that this all has been really healthy is just remind me that like everything is fragile.
Yeah.
Everything could fall apart at any time.
Yeah.
You know, nothing is secure. And maybe that sounds kind of nihilistic or something, but I think that I don't know. I think like my grandparents' generation understood that better.
Yeah.
That like that you know nothing is given. You're not entitled to anything. Actually,
Yeah.
it could all
Yeah.
be taken away from you at any time.
Yeah.
And that I think is really healthy.
Yeah. That's right on, actually. It was really helpful really early on when all of this started happening. I heard somebody who has dealt with crises around the world, and he said you really have to look at this as though it's war. It's not the devastation of war, but if you can look at it as kind of that instability, that upsetting to our normal lives, it'll help you to actually manage it better. And for me, that was really helpful because, like you say, you know, all the generations prior to us have experienced war. They know that in an instant you can lose everything and you have to rebuild again. And we really don't know that. And so, you know, in many ways, even as we're pushing against our governments to, you know, help us and bail us out and all that kind of thing, that it hasn't always been the case in the past. Even that's privilege in many ways. So
For sure
I
it
think
is.
that's a really great word, Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you-
I'm noticing other people on the feed saying things here and talking about therapy and ways to deal with things. Someone was talking about cartooning as good therapy. That was from Glenn, and also writing music and putting feeling to lyrics helps
Yeah.
us for a way to process things, and that's
Yeah.
how you get through the times, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a song that you feel kind of relates to this time for you that expresses some of those feelings? Or you can just do another song.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. There's something specifically. I'll probably kick myself later and be like, "Oh, of course, I should have done that." But I can't think of one right now.
That's okay. Just give us whatever is the next on your list. I'd love to
Okay.
hear another one.
Sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do. This is an older one. It's called No Salesman.
Hey, Teresa May, we're still a long way from the start. Selling secrets just to pay our dues and play our parts. Cold September brings the oldest longing in my heart. Words are kicking up the dust upwind of where we are. But I love you more, I love you more. Ooh, 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 ooh. Like kick drums on your bedroom door. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I throw on some peace of mind. Ooh, 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 ooh. But you still ain't the salesman kind. Ooh, 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 ooh. Now we're floundering like foals in brambles in the night. Now we're poking out our eyes to kill the end in sight. I would rather tell you yes than tell you that I might. I would rather tell you lies than give in to the flight. But I love you more, I love you more. Ooh, 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 ooh. Like kick drums on your bedroom door. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I'd throw on some peace of mind. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But you still ain't the salesman kind. Ooh, 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 ooh. Teresa says the start can end in a bad way. And when she sleeps, the coyotes scream in her head. Teresa says the time has bled with our own way. And I can't find the hands to remind me that there's nothing in the way. Ooh, 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 ooh. But I want you more, I want you more. Ooh, 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 ooh. As if I've never said before. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I'd throw on some peace of mind. Ooh, 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 ooh. But you still ain't the salesman kind. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Wow. Well, that song suits for now, I think. That's a good choice. That works for
Yeah.
now. Absolutely. Russ and I were just talking with our technician here about the fact that, in this time, it's actually quite strange for artists and venues like ours and that kind of thing, that this whole time is actually requiring us to, they say pivot. I'd say I feel more like a basketball player where I'm just constantly pivoting and shifting and changing and that kind of thing. And also having to become kind of jack of all trades, be able to do everything all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Are you finding that with what you do? And if so, what has been the hardest about that?
Yeah. Well, luckily, I think that I already had kind of my fingers in like a lot of different pies, musically.
Yeah.
So I also like produce and mix, and I write a lot for like film and TV stuff. So I'm very lucky to be able to just kind of pivot to some things that I can do, on my own. A lot of artists aren't that way. I have friends who's just all they do full time is play live.
Yeah.
And they're totally screwed. So,
Yeah.
I guess I would say that, and then also just, from a more kind of business kind of perspective, like focusing on stuff like streaming, I think is good. Finding new ways to share your music that isn't touring based.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't really know how things are gonna keep going. And what's crazy is that really, like, the last global pandemic was 100 years ago,
Yeah.
and so this is really the first time that like the music industry has ever had to go through something like this, you know.
Yeah, that's
ever.
true.
Because there was no, I mean, there was a music industry, I guess, but not in the way that it exists
There
now.
was live orchestras and
Yeah.
And a touring band of minstrels with, you know, going town to town. So they were
No
touring,
recorded music, or
but
very
we-
little recorded music.
exactly.
yeah.
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 So I don't know. I'm still just figuring it out. Honestly.
What, do you have any ideas of, you know, I feel like what I love about even people that are following these live streams, they care about live music. And what would you say would help you the most in this time to kind of keep supporting your music? I saw yesterday that you had posted, hey, I got number 15 on CBC, you know, put in another vote for me. Like, how do people do those kinds of things to support even that part for you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if there's voting opportunities like there is right now, CBC Music, then that, man, I don't know. I guess like, streaming music that you like. I don't really know, actually. Usually the answer would be go to a show.
Go to a show for
Yeah.
sure.
And bring your friends and meet people. I think coming to live streams is awesome. But I also understand the idea of like people get tired of staring at a screen too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I don't, man, how do you support artists? I mean, give financially, buy merchandise.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't ask you ahead of time, but I was thinking that I was going to get me your PayPal donate PayPal link, and I should have put it on the screen.
Oh yeah, it's paypal.me/Jordan Klassen Music.
PayPal me, Jordan Klassen Music. Can you put up the action page, Kim? Because I've got a link to your. It says find Jordan Klassen's music. I don't know if my mic is still on. I'm thinking it is. Find Jordan Klassen's music, and I've got your website there, jordanklassenmusic.com. So it's basically the same thing if you do paypal.me/Jordan Klassen Music. That'll get a donation page as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
But
and
also, what I was going to say about this. Sorry, Sandy.
No
What I was
worries.
going to say about this is, if you go to Jordan Klassen Music page, that's where you'll find the links to your Spotify and other product and merch and things. And that's how most artists are functioning, is through their website. They're trying to find ways to connect, and there's room for people to, or places and ways for people to support the musicians during that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd say if things were falling between the cracks, I think what's falling between the cracks right now is artists and venues. I'm sure there's lots of other things that are falling between the cracks, but we know that is happening. And I, you know, we're doing all of these live streams without any kind of ticket price. It's all free. But we are hoping in the coming year to be doing live on site and live streams that people will pay tickets for. And I would hope that people would be willing. I know lots of music is free online right now like this, but I hope that audiences pivot to start paying for that, because I do think that is one of our only ways forward at this point.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to my manager about this, and he was saying that there's a lot of things in really rapid development, like interfaces or software where that's going to make that a lot easier, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, where people can, it's just set up to like kind of pay a fee.
Yep.
And then easily make donations too. And also maybe, I don't know, I think also like a lot of technical things like sound, that's often an issue like we experienced today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the industry is going to quickly adapt. And I've also heard a lot of people talking about new ideas for like live venues, like drive-in venues, socially distancing venues. So it will be interesting because they're saying that there won't be live music again until maybe fall 2021.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping for spring 2021, but we actually originally, but I think, who knows? I mean, it depends on how we do with the current, controlling the thing.
Yeah.
But also with all that's happening in the States right now, where people need to take to the streets to talk about their, the injustice, and obviously there's all kinds of stuff happening with that. There's maybe people abusing that opportunity, but I think the reality is that people feel like, I don't care about COVID, I want freedom. And that's happening. So wow, we can't really control the crisis of the pandemic when we've also got a sort of a larger issue that's a couple centuries old or older, you know?
That needs to be addressed, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's obviously the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us another song?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna do that one. Okay, this one. This is again another kind of commitment song. It's called Too Far Gone. I make a correction upon some reflection. I wanna keep you at bay, but I already find myself in your holding cell. Already stacked your books on my bedroom shelf. I pass through the garden. You say hope is hardened. I wanna love you and leave, but I was already too far gone to be insecure. Already had too much to be wanting more. I was already too far gone to be insecure. I was already too far gone to be insecure. I want to break your heart. I want another start. I want to hurt you again. But I'm already far too deep to be put to sleep. Already sewn your shoes to my fleeing feet. I was already too far gone to be insecure. I was already too far gone. So hide my face, 'cause I'm already displaced from my highest heights, my basic rights, myself. So share my bed, 'cause I'm already ahead of my lonesome dreams, heroic sheen, myself.
Nice.
I like that one. Gosh, I like all of your songs. We're fans for sure. You know what I was thinking about for setting up this live stream, but we were dealing with other issues. I wanted to have my record player here in vinyl and pull out the vinyl, and in between, as people are coming online, have the vinyl spinning and have your album cover here, and then it's like, I was thinking that would be so cool. I'm like, oh, we just want to get the audio working for. So, anyways, but there's so many good songs, and you've done, how many albums now have you done?
Man, if you don't count EPs, then 2, 3, 4. I guess this is kind of my 5th record if you don't count EPs. But then I have 2 EPs also, or 3, so 8 if you count EPs.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have to do all of that darn film scoring, how many albums a year would you be able to make? That's what I want to know.
Man, yeah, good question. I don't know. I think that, like, I usually write at least twice as many songs for each record than end up on the record. So, I actually feel like I could put out a record every 6 months if there weren't all the business considerations.
Exactly. That was what I was thinking you were going to say, something like that, because even when you're in the groove and writing, it just starts to come. It's just the outlet, and it's the way of releasing that. Yeah, that's always the challenge, or often the challenge.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of touched on your album, that you had the exciting happening of releasing your album during COVID. And what has the response been like? And like, how could we even help you to, get that further? Tell us a bit about it, about the album itself.
Yeah, so the album was written in kind of the midst of a lot of personal turmoil for me. Just a lot of circumstances kind of just falling apart. Those seasons where it's like, oh, everything has kind of crumbled. And a lot of just the things that I had that made me feel secure were suddenly gone. And so I was recording a record and then also trying to deal with this stuff, really stressed out. And so that, and then also I think when I was writing it, I was thinking, this is when good art is made, when stuff is falling apart like this.
True.
And so I was almost kind of excited what would end up happening. But yeah, I guess the album is about kind of finding a home and being in your 30s and wanting to put your roots down, but still feeling lost, and kind of dealing with, I guess there's all these ideas of, like, in your 20s, you're kind of running with all this optimism and the world is wide open. And then eventually you kind of have to be like, okay, now which road am I taking? It's fun to reflect on the fact that there's a million roads in front of you. But eventually you got to take one. And so, which again, I kind of already talked about, but, so that's kind of the theme of the record. The whole sonic idea was to make something really quiet. So everything was recorded, everything was played and sung very, very quietly, and then recorded very kind of intimately, which I like the way that sounds. And like you said, you were going to sleep listening to it, and I think that's the kind of record it is, or morning time, quiet morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I guess the response has been awesome. Like, it's hard. I mean, I have a few kind of really hardcore fans, and most of them seem to say that it's the best thing I've done, which is a really hard thing to do.
I said that about your last record. It was,
oh yeah,
and then this one too. So they're all good. You're a great writer. We sure enjoy. We're so glad that you've devoted yourself to the craft of writing well and delivering it and releasing it. It's a big sacrifice to do that, for sure.
Yeah.
And it takes risk. You sort of open your heart and blah.
I'm interested to know, as a dude, singing quietly and intimately, and like those are not normally ways that guys end up doing their music. How did you end up there? I mean, we're huge fans of the style you've chosen. How did you end up there?
I mean, I think, especially for this record, I really asked myself, like, kind of one big question. My mantra question was, what do I do best? And, who do I think I am musically? And I think that my best songs, I mean, this is disputable, but in my opinion, I think my best songs are quiet, pretty songs.
Yeah.
And so, and I think I'm also just somebody who's really, growing up, like, I was always a really sensitive kid, cried really easy. I still cry really easy. I'm not really a bro. You know,
Which I think all those
I-
terms are kind of crazy anyways.
yeah. I've always been a kind of gentle and more just, I don't know, I haven't really ever felt that kind of I never felt like I fit in with a lot of the super masculine boys. I mean, not that masculinity isn't gentle and sensitive, but you know, the kind of cultural stereotype of.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, and so I just think that that's kind of where I land. It's the kind of music I listen to too. You know, I love just kind of intimate melancholy. It's where I tend to land. So it felt like the most kind of authentic thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. Well, give us another one. We want to hear more from the album. Can you give us more?
Yeah. Okay.
This might be the last one, eh? Because I think we're running out of time here.
Well,
so
we're close.
We're close.
No, you can do the whole song. We got lots of time.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is one that actually is brand new. It's not even on a record, but I think I might have played it at Bez when I was there. But it's again talking about choosing a road. This is about this maybe cultural binary of, you know, black and white, choosing two different roads and kind of looking for a third. It's called Two Roads.
Words to recite, I awake before light. Been trying to change how I see. Out on the lawn, that old crow greets the dawn. He's squawking some dark blasphemy. Dreamt of a room where my ancestors loom. They're lashing their Bibles and bells, mapping a line that leads straight to my mind, where I've been so hard on myself. I'm trying my best to remember the nights we went walking in Rome, and warm were the winds as the ships floated in, and I wasn't searching for home. Rose took a loss and the weight lifted off. She's breathing in air made of gold and selling her wares in the West Market Square. Just chatter and trinkets of old, left them behind, every spirit to find ideas that dare make themselves clear. Cut off the ties like an old fishing line that got tangled in brambles of fear. I've heard that to wonder is water, and certainty dries up the spring. But love is a claim, and if it's all the same, well, I'd still like to know a few things. And there are two roads where I'm standing, and each one has called itself good. But there's light in the sky, and I've got some supplies. I just might make my way through the woods.
Ooh, nice stuff. Why is that not on an album?
Just wrote it. He's like,
Right? Well,
just made it up.
no, it was one of my favorites in the concert. So, it's a good one.
It really captured my attention and my imagination at the concert as well. It's just nice to hear it again. It's a great tune.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
boy.
so the summer ahead for you is looking like mostly studio life, I presume. Then is that kind of where you're deferring to at the moment?
Yeah, yeah. So I write a lot for what's called Sync,
Yeah.
which is like basically I have a publisher who pitches songs for film and television spots, and it's a bit of a lottery, but when you get them, they're good money, and it's also really fun puzzle. It's kind of like it's different than this. It's not like I'm saying something about my heart. It's more like someone's like, okay, can you write this? And it's more like building a house or something, You're doing something for someone else, which I really like too. And it kind of brings out the more left brain part of me, I guess. So.
Yeah. And with Sync, do they then give you, this is what the commercial's about or the show's about, and then you write on that theme, or do?
Yeah, sometimes they'll give you a brief.
Okay.
That's and you can even know what the company is or whatever. Okay. But often what it just is there's just like a lot of common themes that are often asked for. There's probably about 6 songs that are just always asked for.
Yep.
For every.
Yep.
So you just write different versions of those songs. Yeah.
And your agent for that just pitches you, or pitches the songs that you've already written on those themes?
The publisher.
The publisher, yeah.
Yeah, so the publisher, the publisher owns like a percentage of my publishing, so of anything I write. And so for them, then they take a cut of whatever they land.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've got a few things in the hopper then in that regard to keep you mobile as an artist?
Yeah, well, I've been writing, I think you guys know Brian Chan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been writing with Brian and his brother Caleb, and we've been doing this writing project. I think we've pumped out like 15 songs already, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just, it's like a factory. They've got great work ethic too, so.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, you also had a couple big commercials with some of your music before. Didn't you have anything that hit like a Bell commercial or something for the Olympics a few years back?
Yeah, that was again something I wrote for Sync.
Yeah.
There was a big Bell ad. There was a trailer for this British movie called The Sense of Ending. That was a big one too.
Yeah.
And then lots of like shows and stuff too.
It's amazing. It's an interesting world. The music world is quite diverse, but most of us just know what we know, which is, hear music in the background, but we don't know much about how it all happens or whatever, but it's nice to see what you're doing.
Well, and good for you that you've had the wisdom to diversify well prior to any of these things, the COVID thing, so that you do have a lot to fall back on, and that for any of the young artists out there, that's actually a really great example of how to continue to be an artist entrepreneur and keep what you do, as they are saying now, nimble.
Keep being nimble
So that you can keep doing things. But before we do need to go, we've just got a couple of minutes, but I'd love it if you'd put up again how people can connect with you.
There it is.
And really important in this time, we really want to emphasize the fact that artists like Jordan, although he's being nimble and doing so many other things, his music still is one of his main things. So in any way that you can support voting for him whenever something comes up, that way, buying his merchandise at his site, doing a little bit of PayPal donation,
So
whatever.
the PayPal donation link is paypal.me/JordanKlassenMusic. That's the PayPal site.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I interject with one other little thought? You mentioned about young musicians being nimble and stuff, and you mentioned the word entrepreneurship, and I was thinking about the program we run here. And I don't know who all's watching this, but we do have a program for training musicians. And Jordan, you've taught in our songwriting class and been a guest mentor in that, and that's been so helpful. But we've got several other programs. So I don't know who's following or watching this, but if you know any pre-professional or emerging artists that want to take some training, we can certainly help them here at Bez. We can help coach them and direct them in their songwriting and their music theory, as well as in dance and film and other things that we offer here.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the reasons that we're in the space right now, too, is to just promote the fact that what we're hoping to do in the fall will be small concerts, to have guys like Jordan and other local artists, whoever can manage to get here, But to do small audiences with concerts that are live streamed, that's kind of our idea. So I don't know if that'll work out for you at all, Jordan, but we're going to look mostly at local artists who are right here, so that they don't need to be on tour and booking, and we'll keep everybody safe. That's what we're thinking about. We'd love your feedback if you ever want to contact us at
Who's
Bez.
feeding back?
bezartshub.com.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you, and otherwise, we're really glad, Jordan, that you joined us.
Yeah.
It really is such a treat to have you. It was great to have you here in our space as an artist, the last one that we did have before COVID shut us down. But really glad to have you here again, hear more from you than just your music. That's really fantastic. Anything else we need to say?
No, I think we're going to sign off in just a minute here, and what I'm going to do is we'll put up Jordan's link again so that you can see that. But also, there'll be a spot for, as you're signing off and saying thank you, we can bring your comments up onto the screen so everybody can see who was watching. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm learning
Sure.
tricks.
Yeah.
We're learning
Yeah.
broadcasting tricks.
Yeah.
But I'm just so glad that you were able to do this. We were able to make it work, Jordan, for you to
Yeah.
be on the stream. And thank you for sticking with us while we're sorting out sound. And just a little behind the scenes, Jordan is broadcasting just from his cell phone in his studio. It's not all his studio bells and whistles because of other little things. And we were talking about how the industry is going to adapt to this new reality of streaming. And so we'll have a plug-in that just works right away. But we don't at this time for all. So it worked. It worked. Your phone worked.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
And
Okay.
thank you so much, Jordan. We look forward to chatting with you again, and have an amazing summer.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks. You too. Thanks so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. You're
We had a
great.
great time. Anyways, we will talk to you all again. We'll see you next time we do a live
Next
stream.
year live, we do one. We don't know when that is. Probably next week, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Take
Thanks.
care.
Take care,
Thanks so
everybody.
much.
Take care. Yeah. No, not that one. The very last. There it is.